I don't want to talk about Ariana, but I do want to touch on some things that I've been seeing in comment sections. Anorexia has one of the highest mortality rates out of all psychiatric conditions. And the reason for that, the reason it's trickier to treat than a lot of other things is because it's an egocentric disorder, which means that a lot of the times the manifestations of it will seem to actually align with the person's identity and their core values, such as like willpower. Hypomanic episodes, for instance, might be another example of something that is egocentric, where you actually enjoy the experience from within and see it as an extension of your identity as opposed to a sickness that needs to be treated. The difference between the two is the societal validation that comes along with a lot of aspects of anorexia. Sidebar, it's a little different, but I would also argue that occasionally hypomanic episodes can also be societally validated because you're being more productive and you're being so full of yourself. Grandiosity can be infatuating to other people. However, with mania, there is a come down. There is a mental shift after. And that's why specialists are so careful and intentional about how they talk about this, because it's one of the few times when...
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So actually guys, there are many things I want to say about Ariana Grande, but I think it's a video that I'm actually going to leave it for next video because there are a lot of things I've had to say. So of course guys, if you've seen, she's called the fire for actually being incredibility. I don't know if that sounds right, but well, you understand what I'm trying to say. Well, to be fair guys, the picture is actually quite concerning. But the thing is, sometimes people are not going to agree with you that actually there's some things that have to be called to concern. And people sometimes are going to say, she's okay, but leave her. You know what? I mean, it's not my body, is it? So, guys, let's see what people have got to say about it. And we'll have to actually discuss about the matter. Guys, if you're new here, please subscribe, like, and also drop a comment on how I can improve the video.
One of the few
Thank
times
you.
when the discussion and discourse becomes part of the mechanism of the condition itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? However, because it is egocentric, that is also part of the reason why the need for intervention is often a trademark of the condition itself, because there is no internal motivation or incentive to get better. So you end up in kind of this predicament, right? This paradox where if you talk about it, it might get worse. But if you don't talk about it, it might get worse. Because of the specific type of cultural and societal validations that we tend to give aspects of anorexia, combined with it being egocentric, it creates a barrier to treatment. And it's almost as if it's become this battle between those who care about Ariana and those who care about impressionable young girls. Because we are social creatures that co-create reality, meaning that we affect celebrities and celebrities also affect us in society, we have to acknowledge that situations like these are never wins for anybody. We're connected, we affect each other. And I talk a lot about the sociological, anthropological value of gossip historically. The demonization of it is yet another tool of the patriarchy to control women, even though, of course, there can be some types of malicious gossip. It all exists. It's like demanding really simple solutions for very complex problems. Sometimes I think that we forget that silence is not always neutral. It's quite often complicity. So like, where do you go from there? Personally, I don't think this should be a conversation about what Ariana should and shouldn't do, should be allowed to do, shouldn't be allowed to do. I think that situations like this are actually really great opportunities for society, us, to be able to acknowledge and discuss how we have been complicit in fostering the type of culture that promotes certain aspects of anorexia. Of course, we're going to talk about these things. We need to talk about these things. That's how society decides what type of society it wants to be. That the way that we actually talk about this and discuss this without reinforcing the disease itself is talking about us, talking about the part that we collectively play in it. And I genuinely think that that's what a lot of people are trying to do. I'm not saying that other cultures don't have anorexia, but that's another video where anorexia is one of those things that it's very possible to recover from, but you will quite often struggle with it your entire life, even so, kind of like addiction. We've been talking for a while now about how the nature of celebrity is unnatural in and of itself. And it might be subtle, but there is a difference, right, between demanding that a celebrity who has anorexia be left alone and just let them exist, right, because you are aware of the nature of the illness, as opposed to actually taking the time to reflect and question oneself. Taking the time while you tell people to leave her alone and let her exist to actually reflect on, you know, our history of supporting people to their death and vice versa. There's a big difference between saying so-and-so should not be allowed to perform. So-and-so is actually body checking. They like the way they look and they're affecting young girls. As opposed to also asking ourselves, why does it still affect young girls so easily? Because it's a very basic philosophical quandary. We say there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Is that the same for consumption of media and art? It's such a misunderstood actual like sickness, like illness. When I hear comments saying things like she's intentionally body checking, she likes the way she looks, that is fundamentally part of the condition. It's also not a conversation that there's going to be any simple answers to, and that annoys people. No matter which side you're on, nobody is getting off scot-free. No one wins in these situations. I just think it would behoove us to, you know, instead of just talking about should and shouldn'ts, to also take these opportunities to talk about why.
I do agree with what the woman is talking about the social aspect of this situation. saying there are no wins. Do I really agree with her? I don't know if I do agree with her. And they're talking about how maybe she's more maybe educated than me on this matter, or maybe it's just her honest opinion or candid opinion. But I do believe, I mean, it's not our body, is it? But the thing is, Ariana Grande's got like loads of millions of followers, and girls actually look up to her. Guys, men, when to be fair, yeah, guys, all these BBM models you see on Instagram, if you to go back to Instagram, let's just say 10 years ago, or let's move it back not more than 10 years ago. Let's say 14 years ago, or maybe on social media, people were actually normal. And when I mean normal, it was less fillers. It was less loads of everything. But the thing is that the Kardashians family or the clan played a very big role in influencing the push of the filler market and the BBO market. And to be fair, yeah, lots of girls have copied. Lots of girls have copied, even celebrities. Guys, the Kardashian family also even influenced celebrities because they were not sure about the procedures. Like there were lots of things they had done. Like guys, back 10 years ago, there was a lot of taboos surrounding plastic surgery, but now it's like a normal thing. People talk about it. Like it's crazy to me, to be fair. But guys, let's see what people got to say also about the matter. What more people have got to say.
I feel bad. I feel bad for this girl because I feel like it's so strange that she is going on stage, going on tour, and going about life as normally as possible. And if you watch this video, which was posted by her Rem Beauty brand, you'll see that there's people in the background talking to her and that there are people on her team. And yet, no one is stopping this or saying, hey, like, maybe you need to take care of yourself, or maybe you need some time away from all of this, or maybe we need to focus on some other things. Nope, everyone's getting a paycheck at the end of the day. And like, if we didn't learn anything from watching and rewatching Michael Jackson content and kind of knowing his story all over again, is that he was surrounded by doctors who were prescribing him medications. Much different situation, probably, maybe, than Ariana's. But he was being prescribed medications, and he built a life around him where everyone just said yes to him instead of saying, hey, maybe there's an issue here, maybe there's a problem, maybe something needs to be fixed, maybe we should put a pause on your tour and figure out how we can fix whatever else is going on around you and actually fix the problem. Because I'm not here to talk about anyone's appearance. It's just sad because Ariana Grande is extremely talented. She's extremely smart and she's really good at what she does, but I just feel like who is around her and why aren't you guys intervening in any way?
So of course, people are not actually really sometimes not gonna care. So especially with the team and everything the girl was talking about. There are some celebrities who, to be fair, have actually faced the dire consequences of actually having yes man around the team. And Naomi Campbell was talking about that if you're a celebrity, you have to have people who will actually advise you towards leaning towards the fact that it's gonna say no to every idea you bring up. Not to every idea you bring up, I mean, sorry. To some ideas that you bring up and to how you conduct yourself and engage with society and with your fans and the public. Because being thin, there has to be someone like a mother, someone like a dad, you know, who actually who has actually been who actually has got her best interest at heart. There has to be someone. I really do not know. I mean, it's none of my business, it's none of my body, but I have to talk about it. So, guys, let's see what other people also have to say.
No, this picture is not edited whatsoever. This is Ariana Grande at her first show of the Eternal Sunshine Tour yesterday in Oakland. And obviously, many people are talking about this on social media, but the problem is there are so many fans of hers that are defending her and going at people that are, concerned about this. Saying things like that's body shaming and that we all need to be body positive. But in my opinion, you can only be so body positive. It gets to a point where this is very harmful. And when I first saw this photo, I thought it was edited. A lot of people edited photos of her, during the Wicked press tour. And I thought this was just another case of that. But no, this is 100% real. And here are the dates for the tour. And it goes all the way until September 1st. I'm just concerned she won't have the stamina to get there. You know, food is fuel for our bodies, and that's why a lot of people are concerned that she might faint at one of these shows. Especially in a concert venue where things get really hot, and if you're moving around a lot, your body temperature is going to go up.
It's true. There are a lot of things that goes into this, especially let's say the body metabolism. I don't know if I'm really familiar with the biological side of how our body functions, but I do know you need, let's say, food to actually sustain your body. It goes back to what I was saying. I don't know if it's appeared in the video, let's say my own commentary, let's say for the previous videos, but I've said it and I've said it over again. You're more likely to die of starvation than to die of obesity. Obesity still kills, don't get me wrong, but you're more likely to die as a result of that rather than just, let's say, eating yourself to death. That's not also nice because we're also looking at both sides of the extremes. And I don't want to make it, let's say, a law where I encourage people to always choose one side of the extreme. My own advice not to choose either. But if we're being honest and being realistic, you're more likely to actually die of starvation than to die of any other thing. That's what I know.
Remember when y'all blamed Cynthia for Ariana being so skinny? Remember when you blamed her for all of that and then said when Ariana got away from Cynthia, she looked a lot healthier? Remember that? Remember y'all said that? Y'all still saying that? Y'all still blaming her? I'm genuinely asking. Y'all still blaming her?
So yeah, guys, this girl's right. I can remember during the press tour. I think it's about 6 months ago when they stopped doing the Wicked press tour. And it's so unfortunate that they didn't win any awards for Wicked. They really didn't, let's say, win the awards it was supposed to win, as it did for Wicked. And we actually thought Wicked was actually going to swim some awards. But let's just not digress. Or maybe, you know, go to different matters we're not talking about on this video. But many people abused Cynthia. Many people said that Cynthia and Vera was a negative influence towards Ariana Grande. And I said, particularly like Ariana Grande, just something about her that has not been normal for a very long time, especially when she broke out as a star in 2014. If I didn't watch videos, she was like says over tanning. Like she's just changed her persona to be like this helpless white woman, like let's say who is very thin and everything, like this fragility that comes with being a white woman and everything. There's just something about this is not the Ariana Grande of 2014. It's not the Ariana Grande of 2016. She has changed and it's not a good change. It's really worst. It's really worse. And it's so crazy to me. Like I just don't like I really don't I don't get it. I don't get it. To be fair, I really do not get it. I don't know what's advising her. I don't know what her theme is, but to see like back in 2014 when I was first introduced to Ariana Grande, which was 12 years ago. Of course, 12 years ago is a flipping long time. Of course, you're allowed to change, you're allowed to grow, you're allowed to, do loads of things. But there's just something about her that does not sit right, and many of her fans are actually choosing to ignore. But these are my final thoughts. Whether we like it or not, I know it's not my body and it's Ariana Grande's body. People are always going to look towards stars and everything in terms of their, let's say, people are always going to look up to people. Regardless of what you want to say, people are always going to look up to people. People are always going to, say, oh, this is my favorite artist and everything. And they're always going to influence people in one shape of the form or the other. But for us not to say it's none of our business, it's actually hypocrisy because the main goal of them actually displaying who they are in front of the audience is to influence people. Is to influence people. But you know what? Who am I? I mean, I'm no one in terms of, let's say, I don't know. In terms of, I don't know. I don't want to say negative things about me, because of course there's power in the word and the tongue and everything. So guys, we've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much if you stuck to the end. Please make sure you subscribe and you like. Thank you. Bye.